When I mention now names like Mrs. Merkel, even Vladimir Putin and so on, they all have been young global leaders of the World Economic Forum.
Mm-hmm. A big question that's been on our minds since the start of the war on Ukraine is whether Putin is a New World Order agent or not. Of course, we've had this question before, but with the war on Ukraine and the events that have been unfolding, it's become a bit of a deeper question. There are reasons why he might be and other reasons why he might not be. Personally, I've been on the fence and I couldn't really make up my mind, but now with a couple of important things happening, I'm tipping towards thinking that he might not be a New World Order agent. Now, before getting into the two sides, I just want to be clear about what I mean by New World Order, because at this point, it might be prone to confusion as the world is about to split into two. By New World Order, I mean the plan for a one world government that has overarching control over people just about everywhere. The one that is run by Zionists, their banking cartel, and other organizations like the media, Big Pharma, many others, and geopolitical superstructures and their trade deals like the UN, the EU, NATO, NAFTA, etc. I believe the New World Order's intentions and agenda are nefarious because we've seen what they do to people's health, wealth, and livelihoods through their many entities. So the question we're asking is whether Putin is helping this New World Order agenda. So what are the reasons he might be a player for the New World Order? There are a few good reasons here. The first one that should be obvious is the supply chain pressure that is heading to crisis levels. It appears that the New World Order wants to depopulate, so disease, starvation, and other factors appear to be reaching new levels. Ukraine and Russia are top producers of grain, and the war has obviously compromised exports from both countries. And the sanctions on Russia have caused Russia to retaliate, and it has banned exports not only of grains, but of other products as well. Since COVID, the supply chain has been facing issues almost constantly. First, it was the lockdowns, then it was the Great Resignation, then there was more worker shortages, and then there was vaccine resistance, and there were also cyber attack incidents, and now the war on Ukraine. And all of these factors continue today, adding pressure on the supply chain and the price of everything. So why do governments want to put the supply chain at risk? Well, I think it all ties into the depopulation and then control plans of the New World Order. You can disagree with me about this, but keep in mind that whatever the explanation is, it doesn't change the facts that we're seeing. So you can disagree with me about the depopulation intention of the New World Order, but I don't think you can disagree as much about the fact that governments, including Western governments, are going to great lengths to make life difficult for their people. The second reason Putin might be New World Order is the cyber warfare and all of the biometric security narrative that's been going on. Cyber attacks are the motive for biometric security and surveillance across the board. The Ukraine war narrative has been filled with cyber attack talk, and some governments, like the Canadian government, are taking advantage of this to enhance the immigration process to include biometrics. And Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum has warned of a major cyber event that would threaten the entire grid.
We all know, but still pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack. To use the COVID-19 crisis as a timely opportunity to reflect on the lessons the cybersecurity community can draw and improve our preparedness for a potential cyber pandemic.
Cyber Polygon is a major simulation event under the World Economic Forum program, and for some reason, it involves many Russians. They run the event every year, I believe, to simulate cyber attacks and find solutions for them. And they bring high-profile guests to speak about the subject.
Now there are issues in the world, though, like facial recognition has really come to be. In early days, it was very crude and almost unusable. And now it's actually much better, but it's being used almost everywhere. I mean, a camera in your car is doing facial recognition for good reasons, see where your eyes are looking. But everywhere you go, you're walking by cameras in some places, and being watched. And I know China has a huge reputation for that, especially around the centers of Beijing. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but I do know one thing. How do you stop it? You can't stop it. We've lost our privacy, so long ago in so many ways, and kind of have to live with it. Maybe government regulation saying it can only be used in good, appropriate ways will happen. In our country, the United States, I don't think we're ever going to limit it to only being used in good ways, just because almost always our system is based around favoring the producers over the consumers.
Now, you tell me why Russia is so deeply involved with the World Economic Forum's cyber polygon. I think this is another reason why Putin might be a New World Order agent. And the third reason why he might be a New World Order agent is that the war on Ukraine is accelerating digital currencies, which will help control transactions and the economy more deeply. This also ties into the surveillance and social credit scores that they're so excited about. And let's leave the details of this for another day. The Russian central bank made the announcement a while back that they are rolling out their digital currency. So that too is a reason why Putin might be a New World Order agent. Now, what are the reasons that Putin might be working against the New World Order? For starters, the war on Ukraine as a whole is a pretty good indication because all of Ukraine is basically a Zionist stronghold, with mafias like the Azov running the place, and with US biolabs and weapons all over the place. The Zionist attempt at making Ukrainian Nazis pass for white nationalists was another stunt to distract from the truth about Azov, but it was a complete fail, in my opinion. No one I know is buying it. And the Western media is hardly mentioning the Azov, probably because they don't want to open Pandora's box. The second reason why Putin might be working against the New World Order is that he's openly against the LGBT movement. I appreciate that some folks don't think this is a good reason, but I think it's a bigger deal than what it might seem, because it's very important for the New World Order to destroy the family unit and corrupt a society from within. So I think that's a pretty good reason as well. The third reason why Putin might be working against the New World Order is that Russia is losing its connection with the United Nations and the IMF. Just recently, Russia was suspended from the UN Human Rights Council, which is great news. All other countries should follow, so this nefarious institution can be dissolved. When the UN is serious about holding Israel accountable to Palestinian genocide, then maybe I'll believe they have anything to do with human rights. And Russia is no longer active with the IMF, which is key because the worldwide banking cartel that appropriates a country's assets when it fails to pay its debt is key to enslaving nations. To me, these are key factors because this means dissociating from the one world government. But the most important reason why I think Putin might not be a New World Order agent is because of his recent move to back the ruble with the gold standard. Bringing back the gold standard can bring the end of the dollar's dominance. And we know that the dollar funds Zionism. The US dollar is essentially worthless because it is printed out of thin air. The only thing that backs the dollar is the military-industrial complex, basically force. So the US goes to war, steals resources, trades out these resources, and demands that buyers pay in dollars. The US then makes a profit not only from the stolen trades, but from the many transactions and currency exchanges. And of course, all the while we hear of the US saving democracies all over the world. The worthless dollar is also what has driven American society to ridiculous levels of debt. Americans shouldn't back their dollars if they understand what's going on. They should back the gold standard. They should support Putin's move. Some Americans understand what's going on, but honestly, I'm not hopeful that most do or will. So these are my thoughts on why Putin might or might not be a New World Order agent. What do you think? I would really like to know. Is he or isn't he? Are there other reasons you can think of at this point?